Guys, and welcome to a review for Path of Exile on Mac. So before we get started here, I just wanted to clarify that this is me playing through the starting area of the game as the Templar class. This is kind of supposed to be a tank or a healer class. It's actually just one of the several classes that's currently in the game. I believe there are 6 or 7 so far. You can see from the game so far, it does look a lot like Diablo 2. In fact, a lot of people actually say this is pretty much the exact same game as Diablo 2, different storyline. And there's a few other pretty cool things in this game which Diablo doesn't quite have, and I think this game really has over a lot of other MMORPGs that are out right now. There's another game that I like to compare this to, and that is actually League of Legends, just because of the hotkeys, the hotkey system, the way fighting actually reminds me a bit of League of Legends. I mean, obviously it's not PvP, hero, you know, that kind of deal. It's you against a bunch of smaller mobs, but still, the hotkeys are all the same. Just the way the hotkeys work is you have your QW, ERT as your skills, and then you have 1 through 5 as consumables. And the way you assign your QW, ERT is you just click on them and it'll prompt you with all of your available skills, so you don't have to go to your skill tree or your items and drag down any of your skills just to select which ones you want to use. So that's kind of convenient. And as I kill these mobs here, you might see that chest over to my side. The looting system in this game is actually not like World of Warcraft or Skyrim or other games like that. It's pretty much just kind of older style, so you only get bigger items like equipment, so armor, weapons. You don't find like random miscellaneous items around so much. In fact, there aren't any just loose items like that you can get, which really helps kind of because you're just removing a lot of the clutter from the game that you don't necessarily need. It makes the game a little bit more standard, just regular play, a lot more about the actual game than any of, like, I don't know, collecting sweet rolls and feeding them to your pet walrus. Don't all love that, but I think that there's a lot more to say about a game that can kind of bring you through the game properly, more of a straight line storyline, which you don't see anymore. Not to say that that's not a good thing that we're moving into more open world games, but I think that a lot of games now, specifically the bad ones, tend to be the ones that over-exaggerate those parts of the games and lose touch with the actual story and just the general straight line play which every game kind of needs. So I just leveled up here, and this is actually a great chance to check out the absolutely massive skill tree in this game. The skill tree is freaking huge. You'll see it in a second here, but there's basically 3 different specs, kind of like a stealthy, mage, and fighter. They all spin off into their own directions, and certain classes can go down certain trees. So for instance, my Templar class can only go down the warrior and the mage tree, and I can't go down the stealth tree, although that would be kind of cool to have a stealthy mage. We'll see some of that the goes online, but for this game, that's how it works. Certain classes are bound to certain ones, but besides that, there is so much you can do with it. Basically, there's different spin-offs from each one, and I haven't seen a skill tree this big in any other game. So here, after I'm done killing these mobs, I'll move over here and I will open it up. So check this out. I only got 1 point from leveling. The level cap currently in the game is 100. So as you can probably guess, this isn't the whole thing here, but I'll scroll around in a second. You can do basically anything with any class. There's the blue and the red for fighters, greens for thieves. I can only go up to blue and red, but check all this out. Look at this skill tree, guys. This is absolutely insane. This is a phenomenal game for the way that it elaborates on its skills. And just a reminder, this is only the beta for the game right now. It still hasn't been fully released. So just think about all the amazing things that they can still add to that, and just really make this into a really popular, phenomenal, amazing, I know I'm kind of rambling right now, but a really great game that I think a lot more people should be more excited for. So as you progress through this skill tree, you basically just put things into each of those different specs, as you might guess, but they're mostly just attributes. You don't tend to get skills from it. In fact, the way that you get skills is you find them, they're kind of like gems, and you end up socketing them in your items. So besides maybe class-specific things from the actual skill trees, you're just going to go out and you're going to do quests, complete things, and then you get gems that you can then socket into your items. Most things, like for instance these 2 staffs that I'm holding, each one of them has 3 sockets for different items, different colors, red, green, blue. See right here that has 2 red, this is a blue and a green, red, green, blue, red, green, blue. So sockets for items, well, gems, that you can then put in there and will give you abilities, skills, increases to your armor. In fact, part of them, half of them are for magic things, enchantments. You have to put certain gems in with certain armor so that you can in fact use magic with them, and some of them so that you can just actually just improve your armor, like kind of like blacksmithing in Tokyo. So right here I'm moving on to the boss, and this one's kind of just spam your keys because at this point I don't have any abilities yet. But there's actually some pretty cool stuff that you'll see as you get into the game here. Quite a few pretty epic bosses. Not maybe the 40v1 boss that you'll see in WoW, but there are some pretty spectacular things that you'll do, and it's a ton of fun fighting these guys. And as I kill him here, you're going to see the loot again. This is just how this works. If you see, there's tons of equipment all over the ground, and I'll proceed to pick this up. There's swords, boots, I guess. But yeah, that's the kind of loot you'll find in this game, just equipment, not a lot of extra stuff. So as we have a second here, I'm just going to be reminding you guys about some of the enemies we've seen so far. We've already seen zombies, which looked pretty great, bug monsters, you know, both playing unique roles and actually some unique fighting styles. Good actual tactics, because if you notice that the zombies were coming up and then the bugs were trying to get some distance and attack from afar. So there's some good mechanics behind the fighting in this game. Not so much with the complexity yet, but then again, we've only been playing for 5 minutes here. Just want to remind you guys of that. And once you actually see some gameplay further into the game, I'm sure you'll be really impressed. So this right here is the stash. This is essentially your bank. Same grid like your item or your inventory, but so there's lots of room there. But I don't feel like there's a lot of things in this game that you'll particularly need to store, except for the loot, like the money style. You might have noticed I haven't been picking up any money, and that's because there is no actual currency really in this game. It's hard to explain. It's something like a currency, but it's actually just like a collection of scrolls and gems that you'll trade things for. As I trade these in here, you'll see she'll start to offer things back. That's a scroll right there, scroll of wisdom, I'm assuming. But they offer you things back, different scrolls which you can combine together, enchanting orbs. It's more like an exchange, less of a here's my money, or here, give me some money for this loot. Once again, you do have to play the game to really get this. There's scroll of wisdom and a scroll of fragment, which you use to make scroll of wisdom. But it is pretty unique, and you will find that if you do play this game, it might take a little bit getting used to, especially for barter systems at auctions. And as you can see here, I'm just collecting a couple quests. There are quite a few quests in this game, and actually this is a great chance to say this, but the style of play for this game is open world, but basically just linear dungeons off of that. So kind of what you would expect from Skyrim, except for less of an open world, but still those linear dungeons you go off with tons of quests off each one as you proceed throughout all of the land and all the space that's available for you. And as you just saw there, I just socketed a gem that I got from a quest, and I'll go down to my hotkeys now and I will select that for my W hotkey. It's an ability that shoots lightning, or I guess molten rock, through the ground in front of me, which I'll demonstrate here in a second, and actually is good for area of effect damage. So as we progress through this loading screen out of that last safe area there, we'll get a chance to experiment with this new ability that I've gotten. Basically, if I just explain it, yes, it does send out shockwaves through the earth, dealing area damage proportional to about, if it hits 2 people, it's the equivalent of 1 regular attack. So not too effective, but we'll see how well it handles that here, and you can watch it in the background as I talk more about the port now. So the port's coming along kind of well. There are quite a few different people who are working on separate ports for each other, but mainly they're all pretty much in the same spot, kind of working together, not so much, but at the same pace at least. So it's coming along, and it is kind of catching up to where the PC version is, which is also in a beta stage, so it is not running quite as smoothly as this too. Both games have quite long loading screens, especially when you're setting it up right away. It can take anywhere from 5 minutes to a half hour, depending. In fact, when you're on the server, any lag that you've seen so far, it's not that the game's lagging itself, it's that the actual connection to the server, they've had to almost triple the size of the servers since they put them up at the beginning, because there's been so many more people trying to get onto the game. And because of all this expansion, there's actually quite a few more people And because of all this expansion, there's been quite a bit more interest, and there's been a little bit of a pickup to how many people are actually playing the game, And because of all this expansion, there's been quite a bit more hype about the game, and as it starts to build up some momentum here, we will see quite a bit more increases to the actual gameplay, the style of the game, the progress of the game improving. More about the port now. More about the port now. The status of the port is kind of like what's going on, or what was going on with League of Legends, where it was kind of a private thing or a public thing, and then it turned into the actual company that was making League of Legends trying to turn it into an official port, which they just did a couple weeks ago now. So this is probably, we'll see that this starts to come together into an official port for the game, and when that happens we'll have a ton of adjustments and probably more regular updates. For now though, we're going to have to deal with longer loading screens, more lag on the servers, but in general it's a pretty good game, and you really like a lot of the new content that they're bringing out fairly regularly. And it is free, so you can't really complain about how often they are updating, although they're doing a great job of bringing out more content pretty freaking regularly. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more content. I'm going to be playing this game quite a bit between now and when the Elder Scrolls Online comes out. Kind of just focusing on those two, maybe some other MMORPGs between now and then, but focusing more on MMORPGs for this channel. So it's great if you want to just check this channel out even more, subscribe. There's going to be tons of great news, more videos, better videos as time goes on, and I'm really looking forward to providing you guys with hopefully some good stuff. So once again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching.